Happy Wednesday, guys. Welcome into the McInnis Picks show. I'm Andrew, of course, and I have Jeff Dawson with me at EC Sports Invest on X and all social media platforms. We were live yesterday on Jeff's channel, and now here we are once again with the havoc schedule we have in the summer, trying to make sure we can fit in two shows, and that's definitely what we wanted to do, except for Jeff. Today, the ratio of talking backstage versus talking on the show might set a brand new record. But how are you this Wednesday?
I'm doing great. No, you're right. It's officially the dog days of summer. Scheduling is so hard between vacation time, keeping the wife and the brides happy. Hey, this person's got to go here. So we get it. But what we try to do is remain consistent. So if it's not Monday, Friday, it's Tuesday, Friday. Well, now this week it's Tuesday, Wednesday. That's all.
Jeff, the kids are doing it. And I'm a kid myself, I'll still say, even though I had a birthday last week, I'm still under 30. But the Nerfy and the Yerfies. And I was on Sports Grid last night. I'm not the guy that's throwing these charts out there, okay? I'm not the guy tweeting and creating videos about Nerfies and Yerfies. So I'm the last guy to get ridiculed for using this terminology. But Gabe and Cam came at me. They said, just say no run first inning. Just say yes, run first inning. And I called him Abe Simpson from The Simpsons. I said, you're the old man yelling at the cloud. But it was a good feeling. I threw out a little bit of a, I guess, as good friend Drew Martin would call it, degenerate special bet on the All-Star game yesterday. It was not an official play by any means. No run first inning, Burns and Skeens. And I turned the game off after, I'll be honest. Girlfriend wanted to watch a show. I said, we're watching the first inning. And I check, I see an Ohtani bomb, 3-3, both teams scoring some runs. Best feeling ever to win the Nerfy and then to see 6 runs shortly after. People always describe, at least to me and from what I've seen, the MLB All-Star game as the best out of all the major sports in North America. What did you think about last night?
Well, it's funny because I too was on Sports Grid. I was on at 8:14 to 8:30. So I was on before it officially started. So they too asked for some all-star specials. And I got contrarian, I'll be honest with you. And it's kind of comical. I'll give you my reasons why. I'd like the National League at plus $100. I wasn't going to lay the small juice there. And here's the real kick in the you-know-what. I had the National League team total over 3.5. Okay. And here was my reason. And I knew everyone really liked the Nerfy yesterday. I thought Skeens would strike out the side or at least get 2 strikeouts. He got none. But here was the reason. Corbin Burns, formerly of the Milwaukee Brewers, now pitching for the Orioles. So the National League had seen him plenty of times. So I said to those guys, to Scott Wenzel and Dave Sharapan, I think there could be some early offense from the National League team. I turned the game on after my segment. I got second and third and 1 out, and my chest is like, whoa, go, Jeff. Go, Jeff. And they don't score, right? So I'm like, all right, everyone wins on the Nerfy in the first inning. Congratulations. Great call there, of course. A win's a win. I get the Ohtani bomb, which on the closing bell with Riley Magnuson last night, I gave out an Ohtani homer. So now I'm the big hero, right? So now I just need 1 run with this stacked lineup in 6 innings. And I get a goose egg, and the National League comes back to win 5-3. So thanks for playing.
I mean, is that not just the All-Star game in a nutshell for you? It seems to me like a lot of these All-Star games, as much as it's great baseball, it's kind of like what I always talk about, what I learned from the KBO when I was covering it many years ago, as you know, the different types of approach at the plate. Home run, strikeout, or walk. I mean, these guys swing for the fences, and especially at an All-Star game, they're not swinging to get on base. You see a lot more of that in September and October baseball, but I don't think here in July we're going to see a guy trying to bring a run. You had the runners in the corners. My Nerfy was at stake. These guys were about to lose, but of course, they're not going to swing for a single. They're swinging for the fences. And of course, only one guy, at least in his league, got it done. With Shohei Ohtani. And it's great. I love seeing the great players do great things. It's obviously great to see other guys step up, but when there's so much pressure and talk about somebody and they continuously make it happen, it's really cool to see. So I will say I did tune back into the game a little bit, but when you got the All-Star break going on, you got to pick you got to let the bride know, hey, whatever shows you want to watch, we can watch, because in a few days, CFL is back on. And we're getting ready to watch some other shows here. But, Jeff, right now, where it stands here, July 17th, the baseball season is so long. So long. Like, if you haven't handicapped, if people haven't been betting MLB a lot, guys, you've got lots of time to start, making some money with it. There's a whole half season to go here. So what are some teams that you're looking to bet against or bet on in the future here, looking at the board? Some teams that might have been overachieving. I've heard people calling for Baltimore Oriole regression for the last 2.5 years, and yet the bookmakers give them some pretty good prices. What about the Dodgers pitching? Every time I tune into a game, they have to score 8 runs to win the game. I thought this team had a good pitching staff. My Blue Jays, I'm sporting the sweater right now. It's casual day in my household. It's been very rough. I mean, they're looking about as bad as my Habs, but at least they're not, the Habs aren't as old as the Blue Jays are. Who are some teams that we can look to make some money on and betting against this second half?
Reading the market, and the market tells me a lot, and because I know where a lot of people are and I get their thought process, but when you look at the monies that they're and the odds that these books are offering, like a DraftKings, I don't want to say it's a bad play. I don't, but I'm just saying, when there's too much meat on the bone, there's too much meat on the bone for a reason. And I offered some of these selections last night on Sports Grid. And first and foremost, I said preseason, spring training, I'll still say it today. The Orioles are the best team in the American League East. Yet they are in technically first place, yet the Yankees are favored to win the East. And if you sent me $100 to bet on the Orioles, or I should say the Yankees, I'd Venmo you back $200 because I can't do it. But the books are telling me, listen, they went on a 5-15 streak, yet they're 1 game out of first or a half game out of first. So my heart is with Baltimore, but my head is telling me whether it's going to be a trade before the deadline. I don't know what the Yankees are going to do, but the books are telling me the Yankees win the East. The two sexy plays in the National League are the Pirates, who are now 500, who have Paul Skeens, who have Jones, who have Keller. They got Lopez back, but you got to look deeper. They're at plus 700 to make the playoffs. And that looks like on paper. Look at Jeff. Look at that rotation. Jones nicked up. Skeens could be on a pitch count / inning count. They could pull the plug September 1st. Say, hey, you're our franchise. I know we're in the hunt, but we don't want to risk you going out there throwing 145, 165 minutes. The same with the Reds. Ellie De La Cruz, offense, they're fun to watch. They can score 8-9 with the best of them. They're getting like a huge number. So here's where my eyes are right now. In the National League, to make the playoffs, San Francisco plus 295 and the Padres plus 145. They're both about 2 to 3 games back. I like the prices on both of them. I think they're both going to make moves. We need the Mets and the Cardinals to take a step back. The Cardinals have 50 wins. The Mets have 49. San Fran with 47, and the Padres have 50. But the other two teams have 3 games in hand. So my two dogs, San Fran and the Padres to make the playoffs. Homer pick here, Red Sox plus 100 to make the playoffs. They said they're buyers. I'm buying plus $100. They've overachieved 11 games over 500. Let's see if they make a couple moves at the deadline. Division winners, I got the Twins at plus 220 to catch the Guardians. They're 4.5 games back. I think the Guardians are one of those teams, like the next team I'm going to talk about, that played over their skis. If Correa can get healthy, Royce Lewis can stay healthy. The pitching staff, I think, stronger there. I like the Twins at plus 220. Astros plus 100 to win the division and catch Seattle. They're one game back. 4 of their 5 starters have been on the DL or IL. They're going to be coming back for the second half. We know their pedigree and their resume for the playoffs. I like the Astros there. And my one team not to make the playoffs plus 120, the Seattle Mariners. Pitching staff is great. Offense is inconsistent with the best of them. They got Jose Rodriguez. Kyle Rowley's had a great month, but I just think they're going to get caught. So there's some stuff there in the MLB for some futures.
I love it, and I appreciate it. And those Padres, to me, are a lineup that I've been waiting to see explode a little bit. We have been seeing the offense pick up a little bit over the past little while. The Twins, I've been seeing pop up on those emails you sent me, Jeff. I've been seeing them, and I've been betting them a little bit myself, this Twins team, getting their act together. The good news about the long season is that you almost want to just hang around. The time for the push is not in June or July. It's late August, September. That's when you need to be making these pushes. And of course, as you mentioned, I'm happy you threw this out there about the deadline, the trades, making additions to your roster. If a team has been overachieving, but they've announced they're going to make some moves, it only means they're going to get better or at least stay the same. And I'll tell you what, I talked about that 3-step approach. I love how the Red Sox play baseball. I've been seeing their games a lot more. They play the right way. They play smart baseball. You know, they're not always just trying to hit dingers, swinging for the fences. They know how to bring guys in. They have good field defense. The Giants are fun to watch. So some great prices. So we had some divisional stuff there. We had some make the playoffs and not make the playoffs there. I'm going to tail you on that Twins one because all I keep hearing is, oh, yeah, the Guardians this. But it seems like, have the Guardians had their little downfall yet? It seems like they haven't really had their bad run. Every team goes through it. So if the Twins can do what they're doing and let the Guardians go through a few bumps in the road, that seems like a really good play to me.
Yeah, and again, to be 4.5 back and only to be plus 220, again, they're not throwing a plus 350 or 400 there. So the books are being very, excuse my pun here, guarded or guardianed here. So I like the Twins to make that surge. And again, the Guardians in Seattle to come back to earth. And you want to take a look at the makeup. You know, some teams have played 3 or 4 more games than others. Keep an eye on the younger guys and the inning counts, who could get, put on the shelf or who could go to every 6th day. And the big names right now in the trade dead for some trades, Garrett Crochet, the lefty from the White Sox, they've made it available that he's available. Luis Robert available as well. And Tyreek Skubal, who we released preseason, spring training, as I call him, Cy Skubal, to win the American League Cy Young. He potentially could be available. So there's some big arms there. Your Blue Jays about a month, 6 weeks ago, talking about trading both Vlad, trading both Bichette. They kind of retracted that real quick. I don't know. I assume you're selling. I don't think you get rid of both, but you're listening. Hey, what's the offer for Vlad? What's the offer for Bo? I wouldn't be shocked if they, Vlad playing third base all of a sudden. He's playing third base for a reason, guys. Wink, wink. Some other teams have called and say, hey, can he still bend down and field and yada, yada, yada. So be interesting to see what your Jays do, but I love it. I can't wait. And there's a lot of baseball left, so you still get time.
The Vlad thing is interesting because I've seen articles, and I read one this morning about Vlad and the Blue Jays nowhere close to an agreement on a contract. And the thing is, whatever year he's had this year and the Blue Jays team's success has not helped him. Bichette's gone through it after having one of the best averages in the league. But the problem is, guess who won the home run derby? A guy they traded away. Everybody in Canada has an absolute, I will say, a bad opinion about Ross Atkins, Jeff. Nobody likes the guy. I think that you look at Schneider, more people like him than they like Atkins, because Atkins was the one that threw away all these great power hitters that they had. So I'm looking forward to the second half of the season. I appreciate all the picks there. And guys, you can see on the bottom of the screen, Jeff on X at EC Sports Invest, picks, shows, interviews, also TikToks, YouTube Shorts. He's everywhere. And what I really like too, Jeff, you've got shows that you do in the morning, shows you do in the afternoon, and you're live in the evening as well. So guys, make sure you follow the channel. And if you don't want to watch on YouTube, you can watch them live on X as well. And the big thing for both Jeff's channel and my channel, hitting the like button. We want the subscribers, but the like button is what helps the most with the algorithm. So we really do appreciate that. And let's make some money, Jeff, second half of the season. I can't wait for those team totals. And you know what? One thing I will say before we close things out with the MLB, just for a few minutes, we'll touch on CFL again. Overthinking the MLB. And I talked on your show about the whole, public square, all this stuff. Nobody wants to talk about the splits. But one thing I'll say, if you're betting against Paul Skeens right now, good luck to you. If you're betting against some of these good guys, good luck being a contrarian, right? And that's one thing that it's so interesting is that a lot of the times the pros like to go against the grain. They see everybody loving a player or a team. They go against the grain. One thing I have found, because the MLB is such a long season, that if a team starts to underperform here and you get them here, well, the books might adjust here. So if you've got about a 3.5 week scale to bet over against this bullpen or to bet against this pitcher, and I find that we can make some money in the second half of the season. You talk about Skubal. I mean, the best thing with him is that he plays on a not so great team. So because of that, still, the books know who he is. They give us a decent line when he's out there, Jeff. But at the same time, you're betting the first 5 inning unders when he's out there. That could easily finish 1-0 for the other team. The Tigers might not score for him, but you might get the first 5 unders. So I'm looking forward to kind of attacking certain pitchers and certain teams. And based on what you've mentioned to me, the Twins are a bet on, the Mariners are a bet against. And we'll keep an eye on some of those teams like the Red Sox, Padres, Giants. I'm going to pull up some numbers here, Jeff, to read out to you. I know you've been getting into the CFL with me. And guys, it's a slow week for me in the CFL so far. I'll probably start releasing a play or two tonight. Have not released a play for clients. Tomorrow I will be on Wager Talk today, talking about some picks in the Canadian Football League. But something came across my desk, Jeff, and it kind of made me think after we spoke yesterday about the Calgary Stampeders being a really good team to bet on when you're getting points with them. Obviously, they're not getting 7, 8, 9 points this week. They're getting 4.5. But they have now given up, on average, they're giving up the most yards per game. Worse than the Elks, worse than the Tiger Cats, and worse than the Ottawa Red Blacks. Are the Stampeders an over team, Jeff? Because the matchup that we have them in this week is against a team that I would say is an over team as well. And in some of the games they've gone over in, it's been a lot of just them doing the scoring. If you look at this Calgary team, they might very well be, and let's be honest, a lot of teams that are backdoor cover teams are also over teams, because what did I say yesterday on your channel? They play until the end. They play until the fourth quarter. They play until the final whistle. So this might be one of those weeks where I say, you know what, maybe I won't try and get cute with it and take the stamps on the spread. Maybe I'll take the over, because I feel like if you like this spread, you probably like points, because the stamps aren't stopping a nosebleed, and they certainly aren't stopping the BC Lions. Any thoughts on that right now? Because they're the bottom of the league right now. It's the Stamps, Elks, and Ticats. And I think I'm pretty well versed in my CFL stats. I would not have been able to guess that if you asked me who the bottom 3 were right now.
We talked at length. I mean, the very first show before the season started, that Calgary was, I think, a 6.5. It was a bet under season total. Watching them the first 6 weeks, they're a team that just does not quit. They just hang around. And I talked to you at length about this. If you allow this team to hang around, sooner or later, they're going to bite you in the you know what. And I'm really trying to look at this. And I'm glad you said it the way you did, because as much as you want to back Calgary, you look at the total and say, well, it's easier just to take the over because we know Calgary's going to hang around here and we know BC's going to score. Well, are we getting the banana in the tailpipe here, Andrew, by that thought process? Because currently the Calgary team totals 23.5. It's not 24.5. It's not 25, 26. We know BC's going to score and they're at 28.5. So is this a 20-20, you move the ball, I move the ball, we kick field goal game, and then eventually get a touchdown here, touchdown there? It opened at 4.5. I think to attract Calgary money. I like BC in this spot. How do I play BC? I'm currently going to say their team total over 28.5. That's where I am there now.
Okay.
I think the over is, in other words, if I had to play something right now, I think the easiest, most comforting play, Andrew, is the over. Both teams, here you go, have fun, roll it out. 30-27 final. Everyone's happy. You know what I mean? So are they baiting us on that 52.5 or 53, I think is the real question.
Right. And it's a good point. It's a good point because then you're really putting pressure on Calgary if you're taking that and you're not just taking the team total for BC. But as I mentioned, there were two teams that had the exact same spread at one point. Now we're seeing Hamilton just +4, but two teams had the exact same number. And I'm thinking to myself, I like both those, but even though Hamilton's the winless team, I actually feel more confident in that spread than I do in Calgary. Calgary let's not forget last week's match game for Calgary against Winnipeg. They were opened up as 2.5-point dogs. The books were like, what the hell were we thinking? Game day, it got to +7. So, I mean, again, it would have been the most perfect middle in the world if you jumped on those. And I know people that did it and they hung around. But here's the deal. What did they score? 39, but they gave up 41 or something like that. 37, 41. So if that's the case, I mean, their offense is working, but their defense certainly is not. Something worth looking at. And here's something that was pointed out to me yesterday, which I find pretty interesting. The BC Lions scored 35 points against Saskatchewan. Do you know how many field goals they scored? 7. 7 field goals. So they scored 35 points. And if you turn even one or two of those into 7 instead of 3, we're talking about them reaching the 40-point mark. 7 field goals, and yet they got 35 points. That is something that's usually when you hear about a team having that many field goals, obviously it's still points, but it's like, wow, that team probably lost the game and wish they would have punched in one of those. No, they did punch in 1 or 2 touchdowns, but they also scored 7 field goals. You minus a couple of those field goals, turn those into touchdowns. All of a sudden, that 52.5 doesn't look that big.
No, and you just said it perfectly. Again, is this you get the ball, you move the ball, you kick the field goal. You get the ball, you move the ball. BC's going to move the ball very easily against Calgary. Do those 7 field goals turn into 4 field goals and 3 more touchdowns? And I really, really like how you started the conversation there. You feel more comfortable going to the window getting Calgary at 4.5 than you do right now. Hamilton's attracting money, by the way. Hamilton was 4.5. It's down to 3 in some shops. And I see a 3 at -2 cents at DraftKings, which means the next move's going to 2.5.
Yes.
So, in other words, give me Calgary but plus 4.5, but don't give me Hamilton +3.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Can you still hear me all right, Jeff? I'm frozen a little bit here.
No, I got you loud and clear.
All right. Yeah, and that's the thing is that when I look at this, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking maybe the first half would be the play. Who knows? But that's all I wanted to mention as far as that game. And then there's one more.
You pulled yourself off the show, Mr. Andrew McInnis. I think we lost you, Andrew.
All right. Do we have Jeff here with us? A little bit of an issue there. Lost connection. We lost connection. The show crashed out. We're back, though. We'll get Jeff back here in a second. But overall, guys, I was going to mention that I like the teaser this week, teasing the Edmonton Elks up. If you can tease them up, that to me might be the best way to go in that game, because you might be able to get a 2.5, tease that up. And one thing about this Elks team is that they, in their last 3 games, have lost by a walk-off field goal. All their games have been close. It's coming down to the wire. They're finding ways to lose. Their offense has been still strong. They lose their coach. If you can find a teaser landing spot, I would definitely look at taking that one. So, Jeff, sorry about that. We crashed out, but I was throwing out the teaser idea. We never talk teasers in the CFL, but I was going to say, if you can get a 2.5 with the Edmonton Elks, because some spots are showing 2, some spots 2.5. One thing about this Elks team, their last 3 games they've lost have been by a walk-off field goal. 3 games in a row. And I think that they've lost by a combined, 18 points over all their games this season. And they're winless. I mean, that's crazy to think. I mean, if you tally it up and with football math here, to lose by that many points and you're 0-5 on the year, that's pretty good. And I mean, it's not good to be winless, but if there's one team that might be a teaser team, and if your books do offer it at home where you're shopping around, I think if I can get up to plus 8.5, it might be a go for me to just say, you know what, forget about this team covering the 2.5, cover the touchdown for me.
Well, I'm looking at the slate, and unless you can do over-unders and add the 6 or subtract it, I don't – it's a tough call unless you can find a dog. I mean, where are you going to put the other leg of the teaser?
So that's the thing we were talking about yesterday. We talk about Mr. Wong and the proper teasers to possibly make. There's no real exact ones. Now, I will say in the CFL, getting 10.5 is kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get a 10.5 with the Calgary Stampeders, that could be intriguing. Okay. Because this is a team that doesn't lose by margin like that. They don't get blown out. And what do I keep saying? They're the kings of the backdoor covers. Look, I'm not trying to be cute here. I'm just throwing in a teaser. I don't usually mention them, but I think it could be real good, viable options where it's 2 games where I don't see blowouts happening, and it's 2 opportunities to get teams at more than a touchdown with these. And so just wanted to throw that out there, because as much as we all are making fun of the Elks this week and all the CFL media are, everybody that's keeping it real is saying, hey, look, guys, they're still only losing every game they play by a field goal. Their first 2 games of the season, they blew a lead. The last couple weeks of the season, they've lost by a walk-off field goal. they're right there. And I think that's probably the most frustrating thing for the Elks versus this year compared to years. Like, Jeff, when you and I started doing shows together, they were losing by 14 points. Now they're only losing by 3, but it's, guess what? It's still a loss. They don't care about point spreads. They care about wins. So I just wanted to throw those out there. For everybody that's watching at home, I'll be releasing potentially a pick tonight, if not tomorrow morning, for clients. You can grab those. 6-1 run. I believe it's a 12-4 run last 16 with the 5% picks. I'll tweet out some of that information later on tonight. But Jeff, thanks for bearing with me here with these issues. We always bounce back. We try and act natural like nothing else happened. But what's new and exciting with ECSI? It's a slow week this week, but you guys are making moves. What do you guys have going on post All-Star break?
Well, I'm just going to close with this. A number that looks way out of whack right now. I told everyone that Hamilton is gaining steam. They're gaining money. An open of 4.5, now down to 3, soon to be 2.5 at DraftKings. A number that looks real out of place to me right now. Their team total is 25.5, juiced under -125. So I like Hamilton team total over 25.5 plus the 105 there. 5 o'clock tonight Eastern. Tea time wagers with Brady Cannon. We'll be talking about the 4th major in the PGA, the Open. Scotty Scheffler plus 450 to win. Second favorite Rory right now at plus 850. So we'll be talking PGA. The rest of the week, we got a UFC show with Gam Lou at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Saratoga show at 11 a.m. with your good friend and colleague, Mr. Sean Alvarez, Mr. Smooth. So that's the week for shows. But baseball picks back up on Friday, so we're excited for that. Come join us at EC Sports Invest on Twitter. Come check out our website at eastcoastsportsinvestors.com. For as little as $3 a day, a gym membership, you get our plays delivered to your text, to your cell phone via text and email, like yourself, Andrew.
Jeff, thanks for being here with me. Thanks for all those great picks in the MLB. You got me excited for Friday. And I might be up there in the Corona section there at the Rogers Stadium there, watching some Jays baseball and just hoping that they can put some runs on the board. How about that? Don't win, just excite me. Show me some runs. I want to see a home run or two. Hopefully we can have some fun with that. Looking forward to it, but we'll see you next week, and we'll be talking all throughout the week, and can't wait to cash some tickets once again in the CFL. So guys, follow Jeff on X at EC Sports Invest. I'm over there at McInnis Picks. Until next time, best of luck, and we'll see you later.